the tiers, as we want to say, of the people above me were super supportive.
EXP World?
EXP World.
Literally a virtual world.
Yeah.
That it's almost like a virtual college campus.
Yeah.
Right, where you all have your avatars. I think that's really neat.
It is, and that's the way it's going to go, man. There's no way of saying this model is going to die, because the business doesn't happen in the office. It happens outside of the office.
Absolutely. And that type of pyramid scheme, because again, like that always goes up.
Yeah.
But if it's still coming back down to you, it's very different. With the shirt you're wearing, I feel like I know what we're going to talk about today.
EXP Realty.
EXP Realty, our brokerage.
Well, here we are again. How's it going, buddy?
Another trip around the block with you, pal.
That's right.
It's going really well.
Making some deals.
Making some deals. Speaking of deals, with the shirt you're wearing, I feel like I know what we're going to talk about today.
EXP Realty.
EXP Realty, our brokerage.
Our brokerage.
Yeah.
Proud and pride.
Yeah, I honestly am a big fan of being with EXP.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been with the EXP for
over a year now.
Yeah. And you were at another brokerage for a couple years before that.
I was, yeah. So this is my second brokerage in my career so far.
Yeah, good. That's good. You're figuring it all out in the beginning stages too. Took me 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, it's trial by fire industry. Sometimes you don't know until you do, right?
Exactly.
And it's as nothing against the brokerage that I came from.
Yeah.
But I think, like we talked about last time, you really got to find what works for you in this industry. And, there's a lot of ways to do real estate. And I think that there's a good fit out there for every agent, really.
Yeah. There's some misconceptions in our brokerage. People say it's a pyramid scheme and all this.
Yeah.
And you know what? I look at any business as a pyramid scheme, if you want to call it that.
Oh, absolutely.
You've got your executives, you've got your regionals, you've got your franchise owners, and you got agents, right? So it's still a tier. There's always a tier in every kind of company. You can't
always a hierarchy.
Unless you're self-employed, and that's it.
Yeah.
The only person above you is the government. It's taking your taxes.
We're not going to go there.
We're not going there. End of the day, like I'll shoot my little story here. When I got into EXP, I was in another brokerage, great brokerage, nothing wrong with it, but I felt most of my business was coming from myself,
right?
From my doings, my open houses, my social media, my sphere of influence, the referrals, the repeat referrals, and they're all coming from people that I've met, known, liked and trusted. So I was doing my numbers one year, and it came up to 97% of my deals were because of me. And then so I was like, I'm gonna start branding myself a little bit more, get a better logo and this kind of stuff, and really sharpen the tools a bit, right? And I wanted to put branding on my signs, and that was kiboshed.
Right.
I was like, well, everyone else, some other people are doing it in other cities, other countries that are, they're putting their branding on their signs in this local brokerage, or not this local brokerage, but other brokerages of the same.
Well, because you need to stand out.
Exactly, right? And I felt, okay, well, that's, I feel like I really want to get my name out there in a different way. And then EXP came to me, and they're like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You just got to put our logo on the bottom right, or make sure it's visible at a certain size. And I was like, okay, well, that's one thing. And then, so all the sign calls were coming to me as well. So then I could represent the seller, wasn't going to the floor duty staff or someone that doesn't know about the listing at all. So I could give all the factual answers of the phone calls that were coming in off the signs.
Right.
And that happened like really on the second sign I put in the ground. I was like, okay, here we go. I just got 2 new buyer leads, because it wasn't the house for them, but I locked them as a buyer anyways, right?
Rarely is.
Exactly. And then eventually those are going to go to the floor duties if they call the signs in the franchise companies. So I was like, okay, this is working out really well at the beginning stages already here. And then it was the tiers, as we want to say, of the people above me were super supportive. My sponsor was great. We had, we're going through 2020 and the high peak of COVID. We were doing calls every other day, check-ins every night. It was awesome. There was a huge support structure, and then also the tiers above my sponsor, they were on calls with us. There's a guy in Prince George, Colin Bredner. This is Jason Smart, is my sponsor.
Right.
Colin Bredner, Dan Strickland, Dean Philpott, Matt Ashby.
Big names.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And Matt's been great. And, he's on the top tier there. And then Rob Flick, which is another, he's like one of the main, godfathers of the company, I guess you'd say. So I had a really supportive, solid structure of agents I knew that were above me that really felt, I had tons of support. And they all have different aspects in business and how they run their businesses. So, you mish and mash it together, and you've got all tons of insights. So getting into it, I felt way more supported than I ever did.
Yeah.
Ever. And, I was in another brokerage for over 10 years, and, not trashing it at all. There was support there too. It's just, this was like, everyone was invested in my success because of the tier system coming down.
Yeah. Right? Works for everybody, right?
It does, exactly. So that's kind of like my intake at the beginning stages of it all. And then another thing is, we got 7 managing brokers that we get to work with in BC.
Yeah.
And there's always 3 on call, and they get back to me within the half hour. They've been great, super supportive,
awesome.
Very knowledgeable. Some of these guys have been doing managing broker business for 30 years plus.
Right, yeah.
They've been in the game. They've been in the game.
Yeah.
So knowing that as well, there's a little bit of a shift happening at the beginning stages when we opened up EXP in BC. But since then, it's just been smooth sailing. It's been awesome.
Right.
So tell me about your story, like coming into it.
As a new agent, the course you take, the exam, as great as it is, it doesn't really prepare you for what the true business is, and you're lost when you start. And you get this license and you're thrown into the wild.
Yeah.
And you got to survive. And I really was looking for kind of what you talked about. I was looking for more support. I was looking for more collaboration, because when you're newer, you need to lean on more people. You can't know everything. I knew people, like some of the names that you'd mentioned. I knew those agents beforehand, and I had some friends in EXP, yourself included, Justina, and I really liked what everybody had to say. And another reason too was, the further I got in my career, the less I needed to be in an office. So it didn't make sense to go to another brick and mortar where I needed to go to an office to do business. I needed to manage my family and manage my business simultaneously, but I needed resources to do that. And I found that EXP has really provided those. Starting out, the day I signed up, somebody was like an onboarding specialist was assigned to me. I got called, I got texted, I got emailed.
Yeah, they're great.
And then you get into Workplace, which is almost like an EXP Facebook and Workplace Messenger, and then somebody else is call texting and emailing you. And I was like, wow, like
they're on it. There's a good white glove service.
They're right there. And even though they weren't in the room with me, they were right there with me from day one until I was, able to be on my own, right?
Yeah.
And I really liked that.
Yeah.
And having the access to managing brokers is great. I think, with the misconceptions, people think like we're all out there as wild agents in the Wild West, operating with no authority and no oversight, but it's really quite the opposite.
It is.
There's a lot of authority, there's a lot of oversight, and a lot of resources.
There's tons of resources, almost too many resources.
More than I can really keep on top of.
We don't need to be in all of it. Like you get in the workplace, and there's all sorts of groups you can get involved with, like Canadian influencers or the top 50 agents in Canada, EXP Luxury, which is something I've just gotten involved with as well, which is a huge implementation in our company, in our team here. We're going to be starting to hit up the luxury side of real estate.
Yeah, of course.
And this whole website that got put onto us is mind-blowing. I'm not going to get into it, but it's just another category you can get involved with EXP.
EXP World?
EXP World.
Literally a virtual world. That it's almost like a virtual college campus.
Yeah.
Right, where you all have your avatars. I think that's really neat.
It is, and that's the way it's going to go, man. There's no way of saying this model is going to die. This is the future. This is the way it's happening. Like, what do they use as an example? Is Blockbuster got taken over by Netflix.
Right.
Circuit City got taken over by Amazon. All the bookshops got closed up because of Amazon. Everything's going online. Everything's becoming virtual. It's obvious, and people can see that happening. And bricks and mortar will be depleting. It's going to have to be a felt kind of touch. Commercial business is going to will still stay alive, or a collaboration of groups of people that need to be in a huddle together at all times.
I think what a lot of people get nervous about, like I hear from, clients and people that I have conversations with, and, some of the older people, they do like the brick and mortar. But the reality is like, I can still meet you in person. We will still meet in person. We will have that connection, right? And it's providing the same level of value without needing that building to go to.
Exactly.
Right? Right.
I never spent any time in the office. I would be there maybe a couple hours a day just to hammer out, making sure my assistant's doing well. She's got everything she needs to do. Send out a few emails and run out, because the business doesn't happen in the office. It happens outside of the office.
Absolutely.
In the grocery store, or like in the parking lots at Costco. Like, frick, man, that's half my business comes from running into people on the streets.
Right.
Like, if I sit in an office all day, I'll get my emails done and, get my listings taken care of and that kind of thing, and the touch-ups with anyone that needs to be reached out to. But other than that, the business happens outside. Your sphere of influence, social gatherings, just getting out there.
So really. New agents, you're just saying, join EXP, get a Costco membership, and
that's right.
The rest will follow, right?
Exactly. Just hang out in Costco for a good hour. Trust me.
Yeah.
It works.
I mean, business can be done over a cheap hot dog. I don't know. Said nobody ever, but maybe someone will coin that.
You never know, right?
No.
You never know where that deal's going to land on your lap.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Here's a great question for you, and I think a lot of people don't really think about this when they think of EXP. How have you found the networking? Because we have access, like our brokerage is cloud-based, it's national. Like I've found it incredible to connect with people in other provinces and other towns. How have you found that?
Okay, well, in my business, I make sure in my calendar year, starting from the beginning of January 1st, that I have 4 conferences or collaboration groups I'm gonna go to, whatever it is. So like the beginning of this year, we went to Cabo. Okay. That was a Brent Gove, it's about 1,000 people or 1,500 people that go to this. So it's very intimate. It's at the Hyatt down in Cabo. You're on the pool side. You're networking with all the agents that do like 300-400 deals a year, hanging out with them, rubbing shoulders and getting into those rooms of those people that you want to be influenced by. I always go to 2 of those. We're doing another one in July in Vancouver.
Right.
Also just went to Toronto, and they gave me the opportunity to speak on stage and talk about listing processes and learning how to handle behavioral skills of other people, which I loved. It was awesome. And then that was the Toronto one. And then we have another one coming up in Miami. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to this one because I'm going to Tony Robbins, which is still something that's going to help me out in building my business.
Yeah, growth is important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's wealth and health. So if you don't have the health, you're not going to be there fully focused. Your mindset's not going to be there. So I always make sure we take care of that. It's a top priority in my wife and my business. I don't say everyone has to be healthy and to have a good lifestyle, but it definitely changes things. I'll tell you that much. So that's what we make sure we do. And then, we have all their networking groups online too.
Yes,
like we have all these chat
big
groups.
For me, yeah.
Like we have all the workplace chats, as you're saying. There's a ton of them we can go through and be a part of. You don't have to be part of all of them because some of them are from the States and it's a referral group, and looking for an agent in North Carolina, like, the chances of you getting that referral to Vancouver Island might be slim to nil, but you can be part of it if you want. You never know. But just getting into those networking groups, like I've met so many great agents across Canada and the States. Like I've got actually a good group of friends now that I start to hang out with, and we make sure we can sort of get to these conferences together. Right. Because we build off each other. I feel that's super important to be part of these little groups there.
And it's good for the client. And they're real people and they deserve to be well taken care of, I find. And, if you're listing someone's house and they're moving into the interior of BC or anything like that, like it's better for them that we can help them find an agent that will suit them instead of them just going online and just picking someone, right? Yeah. Like it should be so important that you really follow them through every step. Yeah. Whether it's in your backyard or not. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, and that's great. That's the thing. Like it's people feel off the energy that you give, right?
Totally.
And if you have the confidence and you have the excitement, if you come into a listing appointment and you're dragging your feet in there and you're just saying, hey, I'm Will, what's going on?
Yeah.
Beautiful home you got here. They're gonna be like, this guy does not want my listing.
Yeah.
But if you come in there and you're excited and you show the energy, you got to relate with that seller. You have to have that relationship. I usually make sure I have that relationship before I even get to the house.
Yeah.
Feel, felt, found is a huge thing. And then when I get there, I usually send out a little bomb video before I get there to introduce myself so they know who they're going to be working with. And I always tell them, have your driver's license ready, death certificate if it's a probate deal or whatever. Make sure it's all there for me when I get there, and we can go through all that. And here's our marketing plan. Send that to them. So when we get to the property, if that's on the table already, I almost feel like it's a shoo-in that I know I'm getting the deal.
Right.
Because they've already prepared themselves and they feel comfortable already working with me because of all the steps I've already put into that pre-listing appointment.
Of course.
But anyway, end of the day, I'm not going to get too involved with this right now, but end of the day, being part of EXP, I feel has been a game changer for me.
Right.
It's allowed me to hire more staff, put more implementations into our business because of financial tidbits that EXP has been paying me back into.
Right.
With the rev share portion, all the stock awards I've been getting.
Right.
Like they're coming in like wildfire now. I'm getting stock awards almost every 2 weeks.
Right.
And it's you know, whatever. It's money that I'd never get in another brokerage. And then the rev share, I'm getting, you know, I'm not going to say what I'm getting. I'm not allowed to even say that. But I get enough that we'll be able to pay for staff, my office that I can allow anyone to come into that's in part of the EXP organization in the area, you know, just share the wealth.
Yes.
And it also goes to the sellers and the buyers that we have these extra tech packages, you can say.
Yeah.
That would be
better tools,
and you can put more money into the selling side of things.
Absolutely.
I always say, like, if it's $1,500 at a brokerage, I don't know if that's what they're charging anymore.
Yeah,
I have no
of course.
idea. I don't really care, to be honest. But say they're charging $1,500, where EXP charges $150 on the deal fee. If I put $1,000 online for my buyers' leads, I'd be getting 4 or 5 a day. Right. And I don't know if maybe the other brokerages are doing that, but I feel that $1,000 that you can put into your own business and attracting buyers and seller leads, it's huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other brokerage can provide 4 to 5 leads a day.
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't know.
I think one thing that you touched on just a few minutes ago is perfect to debunk how it is not a pyramid scheme. Because in a pyramid scheme, the money goes up, but it never comes back down. But with the revenue share and with the stock options and all that stuff, that money's coming back to you. So it really isn't that type of pyramid scheme, because again, like, that always goes up.
Yeah.
But if it's still coming back down to you, it's very different.
Yeah.
And I like that it tries to give more opportunities for us, right? Where we're not all out there trying to drive fast cars and live in mansions. We're normal people that are raising families. I have a toddler myself, and we're just trying to have a good work-life balance and grind and make it like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's great, because EXP gives you that opportunity to work from home.
Yeah.
Do everything. You're all plugged in at home. Doesn't matter where you are. You can go to the coffee shop. You're plugged in.
Yeah.
You've got your world. You can get in there and chat with whoever you need to chat with. I was just talking to the VP of growth this morning.
Okay.
I said, hey, can you take a call? I got someone that's interested in EXP. And she's like, sure. When do you want me to call? And like, she's managing 65 or almost 7,000 agents in Canada right now. So I'm like, can you do it today? She's like, yeah, totally. I'm like, thank you. That's amazing. Okay, I wasn't expecting. I thought it would be like a week away to book a time, like a 10-minute call with you. But like, and she's a good friend now. We've gotten to know each other quite well through all the conferencing. But you know, just the support and having the VP and the president, and they're actually in our collaboration groups as well. We can chat back and forth on text, like pretty much right off the hop, and they're there for you. And they may not have any vested interest in your success, but as being an EXP whole as a family, they do.
Yeah.
Because we all have the stock awards, we all get the same shares, we're all part owner of the company.
Yeah.
That's what I love. We have pride in this company because we actually are owners of this company.
That's right.
Shareholders.
And I mean, I think people, they tend to link virtual with being disconnected. But like you just described, there's a lot of heart in what we do and in the structure that we have. Virtual is just the way that the world works now. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we're not, you know, connected and we don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Well, folks, there you have it. This is Samuel Ennis with the Alpine Ocean Real Estate Group.
And Will Sorensen with the Alpine Ocean Real Estate Group.
Any questions with EXP Realty, we're here to help. Feel free to give us a call or reach out via email.
Connect with us.
We're here for you.